And we are back with some more Hartford Whalers franchise mode. We are now in the year 1980 on July 1st, and we are about to get into our first NHL entry draft as a franchise. Hopefully the guys who we approached in free agency, Pettersson, Poulin, and Hagman, all accept some nice young depth in there. Poulin in particular is going to be interesting with that 3.5 star potential. Only 1 star talent though, so might not be ready until next year, maybe the year after. But hopefully once he is ready, he will be a mainstay on our roster. And those are the only free agents that I was really interested in, as obviously free agency in this time is not really a viable way to build a team or really a viable way to get any good players at all, considering the fact that there's no salary cap in this era. So that means teams are going to be able to hold on to the majority of their good players, if not all of them. So unless players are extremely unhappy with their team and just want to move on, the likelihood of us finding a good free agent anytime soon is next to nothing. So we're going to be building our team through the draft and through trades, as we usually do. But, free agency is going to be essentially a non-factor here. So with that, I think we will advance to the NHL Entry Draft on July 3rd. Ooh, look who is on the board. Jari Kurri, 3-star talent, 5-star potential. Yeah, Denis Savard as well. Beaupre, Paul Coffey. Pretty good draft here, it looks like. Where are we picking? We are picking at number 5, okay. I mean, I doubt Jari Kurri will be available by then. In fact, he'll probably be taken first. But still quite a few good players available for us to pick from. So let's see who is the first overall pick. Chris Shelios to the Colorado Rockies. 5-star potential, 1.5 star ability. Yeah, that makes sense. He's going to be a mainstay, I would imagine, on their defensive core. And by the time the Colorado Rockies become the New Jersey Devils, he'll probably be a force to be reckoned with on their roster. So pick number 2 will be Mike Bullard. So Curry's still there. Okay, maybe he'll drop to us. I mean, I don't want to get my hopes up, but 2 picks have already gone by and Curry's still on the board. Mike Bullard, pretty good offensively, not as good defensively. What about his potential? Yep, 5-star potential. All right, so it looks like teams are taking prospects who have the age advantage here because Curry's 20. I mean, don't get me wrong, Shelios is still a fantastic first overall pick, especially being that 5-star defenseman. I mean, I guess you couldn't have gone wrong there, right? With that, with the first overall pick, with there being so many options. Anyway, let's advance one more pick and see who goes 3rd overall. That is going to be Denis Savard, however you pronounce it. I mean, good player, very good player for sure. 2.5 star ability, 5-star potential. Curry's still there. 4th overall. Jari Kurri goes to the Detroit Red Wings. This is so close. 1 pick away. Just 1 pick away, we could have had Jari Kurri. That's unfortunate. I was expecting him to go first, but yeah, I guess you really can't go wrong with any of these guys, honestly. That is unfortunate, but it looks like we still have a wealth of players to choose from here. So there is Dave Barr, who has the 4.5 star potential, but only a 0.5 star ability. So he's going to take a little while to get ready. But once he is ready, it looks like he'll be a defensive beast at forward, a very good defensive forward. Although I don't know if I want to take a defensive forward with the 5th overall pick. What about Paul Coffey? What is he looking like at 19 years of age? Oh yeah. I mean, he's not really there defensively, but offensively cannot be disputed. He is probably going to be one of the best offensive defensemen in the simulation. There are some other options as well. Beaupre, Larry Murphy, Barry Peterson, Steve Kasper. All look very good. Steve Kasper, very good defensive forward. Barry Peterson, pretty good offensively, well-rounded defensively as well. Larry Murphy, a good offensive defenseman who also has some pretty good defensive ratings. So if Paul Coffey wasn't there, then Larry Murphy would not be a bad choice at all. But the thing about Murphy is that he only has the 3-star potential. Coffey has the 4-star potential. And we also have a very offensively based coach. So due to that, I think Paul Coffey's got to be the guy here. Welcome to the Hartford Whalers, Paul Coffey. All right, so where's our next pick? Where's our 2nd round pick? That is going to be 26. Here in the 2nd round, still got a decent selection. Looks like Kissio is actually in the draft here. The guy who, in the last episode, I approached with an offer, but he was asking for a lot of money. I'm not entirely sure how that works. The fact that I was able to offer him, but he hadn't been drafted yet. There's Bernie Nichols as well. Passing's at 16. Nothing else that's too impressive about him. But his real career wasn't too shabby. 1,209 points in 1,127 games played. And obviously, given the trades that we made in the last one, we could go after a center in Bernie Nichols here. And considering our first pick was a defenseman, I think a center does make sense here. There's also Steve Larmer, pretty good, 17 positioning. Mental ratings aren't too good, or they're not where I'd like them to be anyway. But I think I want to focus on center. If Larmer's there with our next pick, I'll definitely take him, but I think I want to take Nichols here. Yeah, I'll take Nichols. So welcome to the Hartford Whalers, Bernie Nichols. And doesn't look like Larmer's there anymore. Yeah, he was taken by Edmonton. So Kissio's still there. There's Rochefort, pretty good defensively all around. Doesn't look like he's going to be developing offensively anytime soon, but should be a pretty good defensive defenseman. He's already a 1.5 star ability, 2.5 star potential, and he's got a nickname, so that should count for something. He was projected to be picked at 16, although I take the mock draft with a grain of salt, a very small grain of salt in this game. So I think Rochefort would be a nice complement to Paul Coffey, considering they're essentially opposite players. Rochefort, the defensive defenseman, and then Coffey, the offensive defenseman. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with Rochefort here. Welcome to the Hartford Whalers, Normand Rochefort. Pick 68, Kissio's still there. And at this point, he is the best potential. He is also the best ability. The scouting rating is at E, so I don't know if that's accurate, but his ratings, they look pretty good, and as long as he doesn't ask for an absurd amount of money, then I'd be willing to take a chance on him. His demand's of $57,000, so the fact that if we take him here, he'll be under team control, maybe that means we'll be able to get him for a lot less money, which, yeah, for him, for a player like him, with his ratings, he's just so well-rounded, like 13s, 14s, and 15s everywhere. I think I'd be willing to take that chance. So Kelly Kissio, welcome to the Hartford Whalers. Round number 5, really not much left at this point. There's Tommy Samuelson, 1.5 star ability, pretty good defensively. Already 20 though, but at this point in the draft, we're not really finding much, at least not in the way of 18-year-olds. It's mostly 20-year-olds at this point. So I think either Samuelson or Eddie Beers, who is a 1/2 star ability, but 2.5 star potential. So more potential than Mr. Samuelson, but going to take a lot longer to get ready. And I think we haven't taken any wingers yet, so I think I'll take Beers. And last pick, so it turns out there are actually more than 6 rounds. We just couldn't, for whatever reason, see them on the trade screen. Interesting. So there's a total of 10 rounds, it appears. So Samuelson is still there here in the 6th round, so we will take him. Welcome to the Hartford Whalers. Round number 7, really not a whole lot left here. There's Mike Blaisdell, who is 20 years of age. Decent offensively, pretty good with the positioning, so I think I'll take a chance. And that will be it for this NHL Entry Draft. All right, so definitely going to be signing Paul Coffey here. I mean, he's literally already our 4th best defenseman, so yeah. He does want $150,000 for 4 years, which is what that Kissio guy was asking for, but at least with Coffey, we know he's going to be playing in the NHL right away, so I can at least somewhat justify it for him. I mean, I don't like the fact that I'm paying him more than what our best players currently are making, but I know he will end up being one of our best players if his potential is anything to go by, or if his real career is anything to go by. So there you go, $150,000 for 4 years. I think I'll sign Samuelson and Rochefort as well. Pretty much already NHL ready defensively. Even if they don't play on the NHL roster, they can, still be sent down to the AHL. Or the minor leagues here, as they're called. So Rochefort, there you go. And Samuelson, there you go. I guess I'll sign Paul Pajot. We do need another goaltender. Yeah, Paul Pajot is literally the best free agent goaltender who we know is under our control. So, yeah, I think we're going to have to trade for a backup goaltender. But besides that, I think our offseason is just about done here. So one team who I think could potentially be interested in trading one of their goaltenders here is New York. The Rangers have a 27-year-old in Davidson, who is a 3.5 star ability. And they also have a 25-year-old in Staytart. Not too sure how to pronounce that one. But he also is a 3.5 star ability. And they're both at the age where they are going to be competing with one another for a starting spot. So I see no reason why we shouldn't make a move for one of them. Now, Davidson only played 26 games last year, whereas Stotart played 52. However, the year before, so in the real NHL, Stotart only played 17, while Davidson played 39. It's also worth noting that Stotart is making less money and has more length, slightly more length on his deal. So Davidson might be a little easier to trade for. A little injury prone, but with how injury tendencies in this game are, that doesn't seemingly make too much of a difference, at least not in my experience. So I'm going to try trading for John Davidson here. See if he could give Garrett a bit of a run for his money. Now the question is, who would I part with here? Jacques Lemaire, for sure, but that is definitely not all that would be on the trade. And then I think Antonovich as well. He's 28. I want to make room for younger wingers. Yeah, that's still not really doing it for them. Okay, so now we're seeing the later round picks on the draft pick trading screen. So that's interesting. I wonder why they didn't show up before. This is going to be harder than I thought. I'm going to have to include probably a second in order to make this work, and I don't know if I'm willing to do that. If I'm including my second, I want to get, instead of Davidson, I want to get that other guy. They also have Steve Baker in the minors, so yeah, they definitely have a strength in goal there. Okay, so I wouldn't even be able to, it'd be really tough to acquire Statar considering they recently acquired him, it seems. Although I would imagine that's more so them recently signing him to a new contract is more like it, considering he was also a part of their team the year before the simulation even started. What if I just traded for that 2-star goaltender they have in the minors? He looks decent enough, and he's young too, so he might turn into something. Although I definitely would not be willing to give up a second for that. They seem more reluctant to give up Baker than they do Davidson. So honestly, I think the most realistic option here would be Davidson. It's just a matter of making it work. Lemaire, Antonovich, a third and a 10th for John Davidson. I would say that's worth it, in my opinion, because you're getting a goaltender who's in his prime. You're giving up a 3rd round pick, a 10th, which if this past draft is anything to go by, the 10th round is literally nothing. The 3rd hurts a little bit, but if we're acquiring Davidson, I can get over it. Antonovich isn't going to be anything special. He's already 28, so he's done growing. He had 35 points last year, but he's replaceable for sure. And then Jacques Lemaire, 34 years of age. He's a good player for sure. But at this point in time, I want our younger players to step up. So this will be worth it for us. And there's also a lot to like for the Rangers in this package, particularly the 3rd and Jacques Lemaire. So we are going to offer this trade and see what they say. And there you go. The New York Rangers have accepted our offer of Jacques Lemaire, Mike Antonovich, a 3rd and a 10th for John Davidson, complete trade. So we are now set in goal, at least for a little while. So it appears Davidson actually was not a 3.5-star ability, but rather a 3-star ability. So it appears we did not have him fully scouted, but still, he did put up some decent numbers last year, some pretty good ones actually, in comparison to Garrett. So it should be interesting to see them battle it out for the starting position next year. Oh man, Kissio's still asking for quite a lot there. I was hoping that would change based off the fact that we now have his rights, but that does not appear to be the case. It appears we're going to need some forwards here because we have every forward of ours dressed currently. I think we'll get Lars Mullen out of free agency. Very well-rounded. He's pretty young, 24. I mean, I doubt he's going to be doing much more growing, but he's cheap, so definitely going to be approaching him. I don't know. Maybe I'll sign Kissio at the start of the season if he's still asking for what he's asking for, but I want to hold out a little bit longer and see if he comes down on that price because it seems like a little bit much for him. I mean, not that it really matters. There's no salary cap, obviously, and we have plenty of salary to spend. I believe we have 5.7 million still. I don't know. If I could get him for less, then I'm going to get him for less for sure. And if that means holding out a little bit, then I will. Let's see. How far can I take him down? Let's try it 85,000. Yeah, he's set on 130,000. That's unfortunate. And we have the Hall of Fame induction. Who is getting inducted into the Hall of Fame this year is going to be Doug Moens, Norm Ullman, Henry Richard, and Gump Worsley. I know absolutely none of those names. Well, it is the preseason now. We're on September 25th, and Kissio is not budging. I guess maybe 130,000 is going to start being the new standard. I guess that is what this is saying. I don't know. Let's just see. Could I get him for maybe 105,000? No. Yeah, he is not budging whatsoever. Can you go down a little bit? Nope. He is dead set on 130,000 for 3 years. All right, fine. You win. I'll submit the offer to you. So, yeah, I did eventually cave on Kissio, but I don't know. I think he'll be worth it just given how well-rounded he is and how good defensively he already is. 16 defensive read. At the very least, he should make a solid fourth liner. But eventually, I'm obviously hoping that he'll be more than that, given that he does have the 3-star potential. All right, so here is our final roster going into year number 2. In goal, you obviously have Garrett and Davidson. On defense, you have Mark Howe, Gordy Roberts, Al Sims, Paul Coffey, Al Hangsleben, Marty Howe, and Rick Lay. And then at forward, you have Rogers, Stoughton, DeBall, Carroll, Hagman, Stevenson, Alley, Douglas, Peterson, Mullen, Kissio, Bennett, Neufeld, and Brubaker, who was very intriguing in that he had an 80 defensive grade as a half-star ability. So I'm deciding to give him a chance here and see what he does during the regular season. And that will be our roster going into year number 2. So that being said, I think that is enough for now. We'll end this one off here. The next one, we'll start year number 2.